champ now.
Yes, I didn't see him. What are you looking so sad about, champ?
I'm surprised. I mean, I'm really insulted. I mean, that's not right what you just said.
What do you mean, what I just said?
I mean, I'm getting a drink of water. I'm late getting home, but you talk. I said something about the greatest heavyweight champ, man. I'm a hometown man, and you talking about Joe Louis, man. Joe Louis wouldn't be nothing for me. Joe, I tell you, Joe, do you think you would have stood a chance with me?
Well, Clay, one time in my career, I formed a bomber of Montreal.
I would have been a bum compared to you.
Well, you don't go.
What's happening, my people? It's Cast Sports again. back for another afternoon with the family. That's right. You know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. Miss Cass, Mike Rim, salute to everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cass Sports, the Box Story. Today, all-time greatest. How's the family today? Thought I with a little technical difficulties today, but we're going to try to get it in. All-time greatest again. We're going to go through some different categories again. We're going to look at 10 of Floyd's top fights. We're going to look at top 12 10s today. The top 12 rivalries in boxing history. We're going to take a look at the What's My Name fight. Ali versus Ernie Terrell. Ernie Terrell wouldn't call Ali. He kept calling him Cassius Clay after he changed his name. So Ali said he's going to beat Muhammad Ali out of his mouth. Make him call him that in the ring. We're going to look at that fight. And we're going to look at Holman Williams, one of the Murderers Row fighters. How great was he? All that today on Cass Sports, the Box Story, bringing you all of that boxing history. But first, we're still going to have our fight of the day, too. Okay? So let's get started with today's show with the fight of the day. Studio audience didn't want to stop. Okay, but today's fight of the day is Pernell Whitaker versus Greg Hargan. Whitaker versus Hargan. Yeah, I can tell this is going to be one of them days. There we go. Pernell Whitaker versus Greg Hargan. February 18th, 1989. Sweet Pea gives a dazzling performance. Whitaker versus Hargan. Sweet Pea gives a dazzling performance in this one. Okay? So let's get to it. The fight of the day. How's everybody this afternoon? Salute Mike Rim. I didn't think I was coming on for a minute there, but here we go. We're here. Whitaker versus Hargan. February 18th, 1989. Fight of the day. Looking back, it's difficult not to feel some measure of regret for Pernell Whitaker. And this is apart from the fact he was taken from us far too soon in a deadly car accident in 2019. And while it may seem absurd to wish things had been different for a boxer who won 6 world titles in 4 divisions and made a boatload of money, the fact is, some of the greatest boxers who ever lived never received the credit and popularity they truly deserved. Okay, And Sweet Pea is one of those. Never received the credit and popularity he truly deserved. It was uphill all the way, and for one reason. His ring brilliance just didn't provide the kind of excitement most fight fans crave. It's impossible to compete with a boxer you can't hit. Thus, so many of Whitaker's fights were in terms of action, something less than scintillating. Constantly shifting and sliding, bobbing and weaving. Sweet Pea was as elusive as a wisp of smoke in his prime. As the great Southpaw himself put it, if I don't want God to hit me, he's not going to hit me. Okay? That's how elusive Sweet Pea said he was. Okay, there's a shot of Sweet Pea. Too cute for some, too cocky for others. Sweet Pea's name rarely comes up when it should. The best boxer of the 1990s? Pose the question, and you'll hear fans orate passionately about Lennox Lewis, Roy Jones Jr., and Evander Holyfield, ignoring the fact Sweet Pea bested stiffer opposition than all three of them and didn't suffer a legitimate defeat until the decade was almost over. That was when Felix Trinidad outpointed him. But by then, Sweet Pea was 35 years old and his best days and moods were long behind him. His last great performance was a highly competitive fight against a younger and much bigger Oscar De La Hoya. But the judges took the win from Sweet Pea, just as they had when he clearly outboxed Mexican champions Julio Cesar Chavez and Jose Luis Ramirez. Okay? Yeah, those were a couple they clearly took from Sweet Pea. Chavez and Ramirez. The Boxing Menu Podcast Plus in the building. Salute to the Boxing Menu Podcast Plus. And if you're not subscribed, get over there and subscribe to the brother. Great channel. Salute Boxing Menu Podcast Plus. Okay, let's continue. Pernell Whitaker versus Greg Hargan. Right there, that's against Jose Ramirez. That was a blatant robbery. Jose Luis Ramirez. They fought twice. They gave Whitaker the second one. Fights were almost just alike, but they gave each one to a different opponent. Different sets of judges. If the second set wasn't paid enough. Okay. Now, Sweet Pea's first fight with Ramirez remains one of the most blatant robberies in the long history of pugilism, and the circumstances surrounding it should have merited a full-blown investigation. Incredibly, despite the howls of outrage from every quarter, Sweet Pea did not receive an immediate rematch. Instead, a year later, he got a second chance at a world championship against Greg Hargan for the IBF version of the lightweight title. If one were to make a list of the most anticlimactic fights in boxing history, Whitaker vs. Hargan would have to rank fairly high. Sweet Pea had already established himself as the top talent in the division, if not the best in the entire sport, pound for pound at that time. Hargan, while as tough and game as they come, simply was not in the same league as Sweet Pea in terms of talent, skill, and versatility. There's a shot of Sweet Pea and Hargan right there. Okay. Yeah, Hargan was nowhere near in the same league as Sweet Pea. But that's not to say He didn't belong in the ring that day. Hogan had earned his opportunities the hard way, competing in over 300 amateur fights and winning a bunch of tough man competitions in his native Alaska before turning pro and pulling off a major upset when he defeated Jimmy Paul for a world title. His defense against Whitaker was his third after splitting two tough 15-round battles with Vinny Pazienza. An effective counterpuncher with a good jab, Hogan had experience and skill, but his power was middling at best. He was going up against a truly gifted boxer, a pugilistic artist in the vein of Willie Pep, not to mention a man on a mission. Having been robbed against Ramirez, Whitaker was determined to leave no doubt in anyone's mind as to who was the true champion of the lightweight division. Yeah, he was coming off of that robbery. He was a man on a mission coming into this one. Sweep he was. And here he is right here, punishing Hogan. Okay? I'm on the phone today, so bear with me. Okay? There we go. That's Sweet Pea and Hogan right there. Okay, let's continue. Performing in front of his hometown fans in Hampton, Virginia, Whitaker started fast, and as early as the second round, he had taken full control of the action, backing Hogan up, scoring repeatedly with right jabs and beautiful combinations to both head and body. Sweet Pea was already dominating the champion. Whitaker's superior speed and timing were glaringly apparent, as Hogan was reduced to smiling and mugging after getting tagged with clean, jarring punches. At the end of round 3, the crowd came to its feet when Hogan was hurt by 2 hard shots to the body, followed by a powerful uppercut. By the 5th round, Hogan wasn't just being dominated, he was taking a beating. Having prepared for a boxer who would be moving and circling, the champion had no answer for an aggressive Whitaker, who came forward behind a stinging jab and refused to give ground on the inside. Overwhelmed and out of options, the champion regularly backed to the ropes where Whitaker took target practice, snapping sharp shots to Hogan's face before digging both fists to the body. There's another shot of the two, battling it out during the fight. Yeah, Whitaker was aggressive in this one because he was coming off of that robbery, and he said he wasn't leaving nothing to the judges this time. Just Do Boxing in the building. What's up, Just Do? Mike says it looks like Camacho. Yeah, Hogan and Camacho, they do favor. Salute, Just Do Boxing coming up at 4 p.m. I'm going to take you right on up to Just Do's doorstep. Okay, let's continue. Fight of the day, Colonel Sweet Pea Whitaker versus Greg Hogan. And by the 5th round, Hogan was taking a beating because this was an aggressive Sweet Pea. Remember, he just had that robbery against Jose Luis Ramirez, and he wasn't leaving nothing to the judges this time. In the 6th round, a precise counter left put Hogan on the mat. The first knockdown of his entire career, amateur or pro, right? Now, somebody had never not been knocked down in like 300 amateur fights. Well into his pro career, you would not expect Colonel Sweet Pea Whitaker to be the first one to put him down. But like I said, Sweet Pea was on a mission in this fight, leaving nothing to the judges. Near the end of the 7th round, Sweet Pea forced Hogan to the ropes with 4 hard right jabs, feinted a 5th, and immediately clobbered the champion with a vicious straight left and an uppercut. He then got home 7 consecutive thudding body shots while mixing in some more jabs and uppercuts. It was like watching Picasso or Polak attack a blank canvas as the fight became a rout as well as a pugilistic masterpiece. Sweet Pea slowed his attack somewhat in the 8th round and the 9th, dancing and using the ring more, though he clearly won both rounds. A desperate Hogan came out hard in round 10, and Sweet Pea, like a stern schoolmaster correcting an errant pupil, immediately put Greg in his place, forcing him to the ropes and battering him with both hands. The ever game champion never stopped trying, but Sweet Pea was toying with him now, snapping his head back with almost every jab and strafing him with extended flurries of sharp shots to which Hogan had no reply. Get a nut. There we go. Yeah. The best, Sweet Pea, made the cover of Sports Illustrated. Welterweight King, Pernell Whitaker. Pound for pound, the finest fighter in the world at that time. Okay? In most of the 90s, he was clearly the best in the sport. The first 2 minutes of the final round saw Sweet Pea content to circle and showboat, but then he closed with a flourish, unleashing one vicious salvo after another. After each lathering of leather, the toughest Iron Hogan would smile, drop his hands, and shake his head as if to say, "That all you got?" And Whitaker would then mete out another sustained volley, as if to say, "Okay, here's some more," bringing the crowd to its feet as he concluded his masterful performance with authority. After the final bell, Hogan, showing class, applauded Whitaker before the official scorecards were even tabulated. Later that same year, Sweet Pea would avenge his loss to Ramirez with a shutout points win before going on to steamroll the super lightweight and welterweight divisions. Julio Cesar Chavez finally agreed to meet Whitaker in 1993, and Sweet Pea gave a virtuoso performance against a legend and a Hall of Famer, only to have the judges once again deny Whitaker his rightful glory when they absurdly deemed the fight a draw. It's been said many times before, but let it be said again. Whitaker vs. Chavez is a straight-up robbery. Sweet Pea won no fewer than 8 rounds. Okay? No fewer than 8. That's the shot of Hogan. Okay, bear with me for one moment, please. Oh my goodness. Jesus. I don't know what the hell is going on. Excuse me, everybody. Shit. This is terrible today. Terrible, man. Yeah, that's Hogan right there. Okay? Yeah. On the phone, sometimes it gets stuck. Okay, let's finish up the fight of the day. That's a shot of Hawkins. Now Hawkins fought for another decade, winning against Hector Camacho and Ray Mancini, but losing to Pazienza and Chavez. He willingly took on all comers, amassing a record of more than 50 pro fights. And years later, when asked who was the best boxer he ever faced, he didn't hesitate for a second. Hands down, he said, Colonel Sweet Pea Whitaker. There you have it. The fighters a day. Won by Sweet Pea, and Sweet Pea gave a dazzling performance in that one. Okay, today we're just going to look at a few different categories. First, we're going to take a look at Floyd's. 10 of Floyd's top fights leading up to the Pacquiao fight. This is mainly Pretty Boy, okay? Mainly Pretty Boy Floyd. Okay. Here he is. Crush, the legend in the building. And Mike Masick. What's up, Crush? Having a little technical difficulties today, so bear with me. We're going to get it in. Crush, the legend, the morning man. 6 a.m. Monday through Friday. Fireboxing talk. Anybody not subscribed, take care of that. And Mike Masick. Salute, Mike. Okay, yeah, we're just going to look at a few different categories today. First, we're going to take a look at Floyd. 10 up, mainly Pretty Boy, this right here. 10 fights leading up to the Pacquiao fight. Since most of these fights were in the Pretty Boy Floyd era. Okay? Yeah, Colonel Whitaker. When it's the fight of the day. Let's take a look at Floyd. Money Mayweather. Okay? Okay. Bear with me. Oh boy. How's everybody this Wednesday afternoon? Couldn't get the Dawn King show ready. I could have rushed it last night, or I could have waited till the weekend and do it right. Well, that rhymes. Could have rushed it last night, or wait till the weekend and do it right on Monday. Hmm. Okay. One of them days. Yeah. This shit just ain't going right, man. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, here we go. 10 of Floyd's top 10 greatest fights. Now, this is mainly from the Pretty Boy era, okay? And we're going to start out with Floyd versus Jesus Chavez. Jesus Chavez is the first one. I didn't even have the right picture up there anyway. Okay. Well, I hate using this phone. It's slow as molasses. It is Floyd and Jesus Chavez right there. All right. 10 of Floyd's top fights, mainly the Pretty Boy era. This is November 10th, 2001. November 10th, 2001. Floyd Mayweather versus Jesus Chavez. This was for the WBC Super Featherweight title. Bill Graham Auditorium, San Francisco, California. 9th round TKO for Floyd. This is one of the most entertaining yet little known fights in Floyd's entire career. The fight was absolutely brutal for as long as it lasted and showcased a very different and more offensive version of Floyd in his prime. Chavez was 31-0 coming into this fight and was determined to give Floyd hell. He did just that by pinning Floyd against the ropes with a near constant stream of aggression and body punching. Okay? Yeah, he gave Floyd hell for a little while. Yeah, this is one of the fights that fly under the radar. Jesus Chavez. So, Floyd showcased his brilliant and underrated ability to fight in the pocket by rolling with Chavez's punches and rocketing him back with vicious uppercuts and right hands. Floyd had reportedly struggled mightily to make the 130-pound limit coming into this fight, and therefore must be given credit for pulling out ahead in such a brutal affair. The fight ended in the 9th round when Chavez's trainer, Ronnie Shields, surprisingly stopped what had been a competitive fight up to that point. Floyd 9th round TKO. For some reason, Ronnie Shields stopped it. Yeah. Okay, the next one is, looking at 10 of maybe the Pretty Boy era. This one is Floyd versus Jose Luis Castillo. This is one. April 20th, 2002. This was the first one. I think I got the second one too. This is the first one. Okay. Now, this was for the WBC lightweight title at the MGM Grand, Las Vegas, Nevada. Remember, Floyd got a 12-round unanimous decision in this one. After 8 defenses of his junior lightweight title, Floyd officially moved up in weight to challenge for Castillo's 135-pound belt. What happened next is dependent on who you believe won the fight. One thing is for certain. The record Castillo gave Floyd the most difficult test of his career up to that point by cutting off the ring with constant pressure, particularly to the body. The fight was controversial enough that Floyd fought an immediate rematch with Castillo. Okay? Floyd got the unanimous decision. Okay, so then we go to the immediate, they had the immediate rematch. Yeah. Go to Floyd Castillo 2 now. All right. Floyd Castillo 2. There they are. And 2. This one, 2 was that same year, December 7th, 2002. Okay. Floyd versus Jose Luis Castillo 2. Again for the WBC lightweight, 135. Okay. This one was at the Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas, Nevada. The other one was at the MGM Grand. This was at the Mandalay Bay. Another unanimous decision for Floyd. Okay. So this time, after a very controversial fight the first time, immediate rematch. Now the rematch was a much more decisive, albeit still challenging win for Floyd. Floyd used a great deal more lateral movement in this one. More lateral movement, combination punching, and jabs to keep the rugged Mexican at bay. Castillo, ever the competitor, remained competitive in a fight that was utterly devoid of any notable exchanges. Floyd never took any chances in the rematch and boxed very cautiously. It was yet another display of Floyd's unique ability to make adjustments in fight. Yeah, so Floyd took the second one by a much more clearer 12-round unanimous decision. And you got to give Floyd his props for that. Everybody, a lot of people said Castillo won the first fight. I thought Floyd won it. So what did Floyd do? Floyd gave him the immediate rematch. Okay? That's what you're supposed to do. Controversy. Settle it in the ring. Okay, so the next one, we're looking at 10 of the Pretty Boy Floyd's era, 10 of his top fights. We got a couple in the Money era, right up to the Manny Pacquiao fight. But we don't have the Manny Pacquiao fight. Okay, the next one is DeMarcus Corley. Change, damn it. Bear with me. Oh, when this daggone phone, I had some technical difficulties. There we go. Okay, this one was May 22nd, 2004. Floyd versus DeMarcus Corley. This was for the WBC Super Lightweight Eliminator. This was in Boardwalk Hall, Atlantic City, New Jersey. Okay. It's one of the last fights Floyd fought outside of Las Vegas, too. Now what the hell is going on, man? I probably should have just... There we go. Okay. Yeah. Floyd won a unanimous 12-round unanimous decision. Well, of course Floyd won. He never lost in his career. 12-round unanimous decision for Floyd in this one. Okay. Thomas Hill. What's up, Thomas Hill? How are you today? It's a rather late start today. Yeah. We're not going to get everything we planned in, but hey, we're going to get most of it in. Let's salute Thomas Hill. In the building. Going through 10 of Floyd's top fights. Most of them in the Pretty Boy era. Okay, this is DeMarcus Corley here. Boardwalk Hall, Atlantic City, New Jersey. 12-round unanimous decision for Floyd. Now, the fight was Floyd's first foray into the 140-pound weight class. And it proved to be a thrilling one. The vastly underrated Corley managed to rock Floyd on several occasions, most notably in the third and fourth rounds. Floyd responded beautifully to Corley's challenge by eventually dominating the inside exchanges with the withering assault of combination punching. 12-round UD for Floyd in this one. Okay. Oh, that ain't over yet. Okay, it ain't over. Get this other picture going to you for you. There's this phone is terrible, man. Slow. There we go, yeah. There it is. Okay. Now, Floyd dropped Corley in the 8th and 10th rounds, and only Corley's immense courage kept him standing until the final bell. Floyd showed in the fight that he had the ability to withstand some massive punches, as well as possessing sublime recuperative powers. Yeah, Floyd had great recuperative powers and had a great beard on him, too. Yes, he did. Okay. We will forever forget this one. Okay, bear with me for a second. I got to go out again. That this phone is crazy. Okay, yeah, this phone gets stuck sometimes, and I gotta go out and come back in to get it moving again. Okay, but we're back now. Okay, now yeah, this is Floyd and Zab Judah now. Looking at some of Pretty Boys, the Pretty Boy Floyd era. Floyd and Zab. This picture up there. Not me. Here we go. Okay, yeah. Floyd and Zab. This fight took place on April 8th, 2006. This was for the IBF and WBO welterweight titles. Thomas and Mack Center, Las Vegas, Nevada. Yeah, that one against Corley might have been his last fight, not in Las Vegas. No, it was one of them. Okay. 12 round unanimous decision for Floyd. Okay. Zab's absurd hand speed gave Floyd a few legitimate scares early on. This was probably the only time in his career Floyd was in there with somebody that had faster hands than he did. Okay? Ever in his career against Zab. Now, Zab is one of the few fighters Floyd ever fought that had faster hands than he did. Yeah, I just said that. Let me follow the script. Yeah. Zab was one of the few fighters Floyd has boxed that had faster hands than he did. Probably the only one, I think. Zab was probably deprived of scoring a knockdown when he clocked Floyd with a straight left hand that caused Floyd's glove to touch the canvas in round 2. Yeah, that was a knockdown, but it wasn't called. In the 5th round, Floyd began to take over and proceeded to dole out a vicious beating from that point forward. And the final scores were 116, 112, all 3 judges. We're going to skip over that, you know what happened. No, we're not, neither. Richard Steele was the referee that missed that knockdown, too. Yeah, we're going to talk about the brawl that happened. Remember, all hell broke loose. Roger told Floyd that Zab was going to do something dirty eventually, and Roger called it, right? With about 10 seconds left in the 10th round, Zab hit Floyd with a low blow, and then Floyd bent over, and Zab followed the low blow up with a rabbit punch to the back of Floyd's head. As Floyd hopped around the ring in pain, referee Richard Steele called time to give Floyd a rest period. Floyd's uncle and trainer, Roger Mayweather, jumped into the ring, approached Zab, and tried to confront him. Zab's father and trainer, Yoel Judah, then entered the ring and threw a punch at Roger. At that point, members of both fighters' teams entered the ring, and an all-out brawl ensued. Yeah, remember that one? Yeah, it was really something. But they got order restored, a lot of suspensions and fines. Of course, Zab got the biggest fine and longest. Roger and Zab got the biggest and longest. Leonard Allaby, fine suspended. Yoel Judah, fine suspended. Those were the main 4 culprits. Floyd couldn't do nothing. I mean, Floyd was over on the ropes, double over in pain. Floyd couldn't do anything. And Don King made a great point, because at that point, I think the Godfather still had Floyd and Don King was promoting Zab. And Don King said Floyd should have been disqualified because Roger Mayweather was the first one to jump in that ring, and the seconds are not allowed in the ring while the 3-minute round is going on, only to throw the towel in. So Don King had a point. Floyd should have been disqualified. He should have had 1 loss on that record. But Richard Steele chose not to. But following the rules, Richard Steele should have disqualified Floyd, because Roger had no business coming in that ring when he did. No business at all. Before Yoel Judah, Leonard Allaby, all of them got in there, Roger jumped in the ring, and the round was still going on. Well, technically, Richard Steele had called timeout, but still was in the 3-minute round. So I guess that's why he didn't disqualify him, though, because he had called timeout to give Floyd a rest period. So, yeah. Give Roger the benefit of the doubt. That's why Richard Steele didn't disqualify Floyd. Okay, the next one was Oscar. Remember T. Hill? Oscar was doing all that, doing all that missing, throwing all the windmilling and stuff, and fooled one of the judges. Remember? One of the judges gave it to Oscar, right? He was doing all that missing. when they had Floyd on the ropes, windmilling and stuff. And he fooled one of the judges, didn't he, T. Hill? He sure did. Yeah, it should have been, shouldn't it, Thomas Hill? Yeah, me and T. Hill on the same page. Yeah, because he said it should have been. Yeah, but see, Yoel jumped in after Roger. So I don't know. Maybe that's why Richards. Now, if Yoel, nobody else had a jump, then he probably would have disqualified Floyd. But then what happened happened. Everybody jumping in. That's probably what saved him. And he had called timeout. So yeah. But Floyd and Oscar, May 5th, 2007. This one was at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Yeah, Floyd never fought outside Las Vegas after that fight against Corley in Atlantic City. That was his last one. Most of these the Pretty Boy era. This fight was after this was the official beginning of the Money era, because that's when he took over. Oscar was the man then, and remember that wrestler Ric Flair used to say, "To be the man, you got to beat the man." That's what Floyd did. He beat the man, and he became the man. Remember? Woo! To be the man, you have to beat the man. The Nature Boy said that. Remember? And that's what Floyd did. He beat the man and became the man. Right? So, yeah, 12-round split decision. Yeah, Oscar fooled one of those judges with all that windmilling. Right. Called by some, the fight to save boxing. Floyd, for once, appeared vulnerable during the early onslaught until he stemmed the tide in the 5th round, uncorking a sharp right hand, which made Oscar's legs dip. Yeah, and Roger also said that Oscar was going to get tired later, and Oscar did. Remember, Roger said Zab was going to do something dirty, and Zab did. Then Roger said Oscar going to get tired later in the fight, and he did. Remember? Roger called that one too. Yeah, Floyd caused Oscar's legs to dip with that shot in the 5th round. And Floyd appeared to pace the fight to perfection, gradually outworking his tiring foe, who was wobbled by a big right in the closing seconds of the fight. That was Roger, that pacing part, because Roger knew Oscar was going to get tired. You know, when he said Floyd appeared to pace the fight perfectly, that was Roger. Under Roger's instructions, Floyd did that type of pacing. Because Roger knew that Oscar was going to get tired. Yeah, he said it. Here's Floyd with his team. Yeah, like this after the Oscar fight when he became the man. Yeah. Now, already the best boxer in the world, the Oscar fight was the launching point for Floyd to become the sport's biggest and wealthiest personality. Yeah, that's when he became the man. For a fighter who went on to become known almost as much for the record-breaking sums of money he has earned, almost more than for his unbeaten mark, the importance of this victory over Oscar is incredible, right? Incalculable. Floyd cultivated his villainous persona during the inaugural version of the pre-fight 24/7 documentary series on HBO in a way that was almost as brilliant as the manner in which he disarmed Oscar. And Oscar was much larger in that fight too. Remember, after the fight, Floyd said it was a welterweight fight and a junior middleweight tonight. Yeah, Oscar was huge in that one. Yes, he was. Yeah, you can see the size differential right there. Look at it. Was that a catchweight? I can't remember. I know Oscar was big, way bigger than Floyd in there. I can't get the damn thing to change again. Come on, man. We're going to go to the link a little early because, I'm on the phone and everything is kind of not too cool. Come on. If all else fails, drop the damn link. It wouldn't even change at all, man. Maybe you can't go backwards. I don't know. It's moving. I was just trying to show you the size differential, but I can't get that picture to come back up. So let's go on. We got a couple more. Some of Pretty Boy Floyd's biggest fights. He's now Money Mayweather because this was after the Oscar fight. The next one was the Hitman, Ricky. Okay, we're back. I knew something was getting ready to happen because that picture wouldn't move. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna show you that picture now. The size differential. There it is. That's what I was trying to show right there. Maybe I should leave that alone. There we go. You see? Oh my goodness. Yes. See? There's Oscar. Look at the size differential now. How much bigger Oscar was than Floyd in that fight. Not just the height, look at the body. Yeah, Oscar was huge. Okay, the Hitman, Ricky Hatton. Was Floyd's next opponent. First fight is Money Mayweather now. He done beat Oscar. He's the man now. Okay? Yeah. There's him and the Hitman. Goodness. Yeah, there's him and the Hitman. That was next. We just looking at some Money Mayweather's. Yeah, Roger was tuned into him. Performances. Hitman, December 8th, 2007. This was later that year after he beat Oscar. Remember? Back at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. He never came out of Las Vegas, never fought out of Las Vegas again. The last one was DeMarcus Corley earlier in the decade in Atlantic City at Boardwalk Hall. That was his last fight he ever fought outside New Jersey. That was what do I have? Right before the Zab fight. DeMarcus Corley, yeah, that was May 22nd, 2004. After that, he started fighting in Las Vegas. All his fights. Okay. So Ricky Hatton, let's talk about Ricky Hatton. We're going to be up to 3:30 soon. December 8th, 2007. Later that year, after he beat Oscar, Ricky Hatton. MGM Grand Garden Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada. Floyd won this one by 10th round TKO. That check hook did the Hitman in. Now the Hitman wobbled Floyd with a stiff jab in the first round, but his attempts to fight at close quarters were continuously interrupted by referee Joe Cortez. Partially docked the point in the sixth round, Hatton was becoming incredibly reckless as he slipped behind on the scorecards. His desperation would prove his undoing, as the Englishman was heavily floored by a huge hook in the 10th round and was rescued by Cortez as he staggered to the canvas for a second time. Yeah, Joe Cortez stopped it. Then was Miguel Cotto. Miguel. This one was May 5th, 2012. Floyd versus Miguel Cotto. This was for the WBA junior middleweight title. Okay, MGM Grand Garden Arena, Las Vegas. Okay, Makoto came into with a brilliant strategy of using a stiff jab right up the middle to break Floyd's shoulder roll defense. In a dominant eighth round for Cotto, it worked brilliantly. Cotto bloodied Floyd's nose and lumped his face up in a way very few fighters ever had done. Floyd, however, was never really in danger. His faster hands and superior stamina were always going to win out, and he dominated in what was one of the most entertaining fights of his career. That was a good one against Cotto. Yeah. And that's the last one. Okay. Pretty Boy Floyd. I mean, yeah, most of that was Pretty Boy. Okay, let's look at something else. Now, let's look at the top 12 chins. We've done this before, but it's time to look at the chins again. Okay? Top 12 chins in boxing history. Okay. I thought Cotto was it. No. Yeah. Nope, he wasn't. Oh, we got Canelo. Yeah, this was one of the most entertaining fights of Floyd's career, the one against Cotto. And Floyd would have the last word as he wobbled Cotto in the closing minutes with a jolting uppercut. And all three judges handed him the decision with scores 117, 111 twice, and 118, 110. A wide UD for Floyd. Floyd also showcased his unflappable nature by staying mentally focused despite a looming prison sentence. He went on to serve 2 months after pleading guilty to domestic violence charges. Okay? Yeah. Boxing is very mental, and he fought, with all that going on around him. But that was Floyd, Floyd was special. Yeah. Very special. Yeah, that's him and Canelo. Yeah, 3 more, but I can't. Let's go to the chins. Now that won't move. This is a crazy day. Let's look at some tough beards. Some guys had the toughest beards in boxing history. Okay. All right. And everything stopped working on the same day. Okay. We had a couple more, but we're going to go to the toughest chins in boxing history now. I don't know who that is. Floyd and somebody. That's Madonna. Remember Madonna had pushed him down? Yeah. Madonna pushed him to the floor. He did the same thing with Madonna he did with Castillo. First fight, a lot of people talk about he lost it controversially. So he gave Madonna the immediate rematch, beat him more clearly in the second one. Okay? Yeah. Yep. Here there's another picture of him and Madonna. Madonna got this old elbow to the throat move. Yeah, that was legal back in the 1800s. Madonna is like 125 years too late. It should have been back in 1800. That was legal. You could do that. Put your thumb in the person's eye, throw them down, and stomp them. Somebody in the audience bet on it. Their man loses, jumping in and help them. Yeah, Madonna like 125 years too late. Yeah, the old elbow to the throat that outlawed over a century ago. Madonna. Madonna said, I ain't letting that stop me. Okay, the chins. Top 12 chins in boxing history. Carlos Monzon. King Carlos, that is. A pugilist. Well, it's not. Carlos Monzon. Well, the pugilist's last line of defense is the durability of his mandible. And of course, no one doubts that a key qualification for ring greatness is sheer toughness, the ability to absorb heavy blows and fight on. Here are the 12 all-time best chins in boxing history. The warriors who, despite prolific careers and battles with truly dangerous punches, seldom went down, and who, without exception, always got up when they did go down. King Carlos Monzon. Talking about the toughest chins now. King Carlos Monzon. The toughest of middleweight champions. The Argentinian had 100 pro fights and visited the canvas in just 2 of them. An early loss in 1964, in one of his first fights, to the more experienced Felipe Cambero, and then to fellow champion Rodrigo Valdez in Escobedo's final fight in 1977. Through his 99 fights, he went down once. Then in his 100th and final fight, he went down for the second time in his career. King Carlos Monzon. William Gorilla Jones. Ain't like that, he better be tough. Gorilla. There's Gorilla. Gorilla Jones, in 144 fights, Gorilla Jones was on the canvas just once. I don't even have to say no more about Gorilla. 144 fights. He was off his feet just once. That's it for Gorilla. Carmen Basilio. I think Carmen was the onion farmer. I think that's what they called him. That's Carmen taking a shot from Sugar Ray Robinson. Right there. In the 100 Knockout Club, Sugar Ray. That's Carmen on the left. Yeah. The rugged onion farmer battled some of the all-time greats at both welterweight and middleweight, and was on the canvas just once in 79 fights. When he narrowly beat Sugar Ray Robinson in their first epic battle, it was reported he shook off punches that would have knocked out a horse. Carmen Basilio. Panama Al Brown. Oh. Okay, Panama Al Brown. Stay with me for a moment. It's stuck again. 100 Knockout Club, Sugar Ray. That's Carmen on the left. Yeah. The rugged onion farmer battled some of the all-time greats at both welterweight and middleweight, and was on the canvas just once in 79 fights. When he narrowly beat Sugar Ray Robinson in their first epic battle, it was reported he shook off punches that would have knocked out a horse. Carmen Basilio. Okay, Panama Al Brown. This is madness today. Panama Al Brown. Hagler. You know Hagler's on there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, there's Panama Al Brown. He was as tough as they come. That's him on the left. This great bantamweight champion was knocked down on a single occasion in a total of 168 fights. That's enough said right there. 168 fights. He went down once. Uh-oh. Yeah, I thought something was getting ready to happen. 169 fights. He went 8. He went down once. Barney Ross. Barney Ross. This Barney on the left getting hit. Well, he got hit right in the mandible too. Right in the mandible. I don't know who that is hitting him there. Oh, that's Henry Armstrong hitting him. Homicide Hank. Homicide Hank is in the 100 Knockout Club too. Homicide Hank tried but failed to put Ross on the canvas. In a Hall of Fame career featuring dozens of fights with numerous fellow greats, Ross was decked just once. That knockdown courtesy of the great Jimmy McLaurin. Went down once. Over 100 fights too. He fought in that era. Just once. Pancho Villa. And he was like a flyweight or something. Tough man, like 112. Arguably the greatest Filipino fighter ever. Pancho Villa. Yeah. There's Pancho. 104 fights in the ultra-competitive 1920s. Never knocked down. Not even once. Never. Zero, nada, zilch. Never. 104 fights. Muhammad Ali. Yeah. And y'all know what kind of competition he was in. Muhammad Ali. Right? And he never went. Well, he went down, but he still had a tough chin. And that proved to be kind of negative for him because, you know, how he ended up, you know, from that toughness. Yeah. Maybe if he went on down and got knocked out some of them times, he wouldn't have took as much damage, but I don't know. It's boxing. Muhammad Ali. Deadly bangers such as Sonny Liston, Big George Foreman. Deadly bangers such as the Big Bear, Sonny Liston, Big George Foreman, Smoking Joe Frazier, Oscar Bonavita, Ken Norton, Ron Lau, and maybe the hardest puncher in boxing history, the Acorn, Ernie Shavers, all tested Ali's chin, and the greatest proved more than their match. As Joe Frazier once said, after the Thriller in Manila, the vicious war they had, man, I hit Ali with punches that would bring down the walls of a city. Ali was still standing. Billy Graham. Yep. Smoking Joe was like, what you gotta do? You got him in that first fight with that left hook, but couldn't do it again. Couldn't do it again. Billy Graham. There's Billy getting hit right in the jaw. That was a good one too. Wrinkled his face up. Who is that hitting? Oh, that's Kid Gavilan hitting him. These two fighters, Billy Graham and Kid Gavilan, in a combined 269 fights, they each went down once. They had a combined 269, not against each other. They had 269 fights in their careers and each went down once. Billy Graham, this tough New York welterweight, had no fewer than 126 fights, including battles with Joey Giardello, Kid Gavilan, and Carmen Basilio. Oh, he was never off his feet, so those two knockdowns were both Kid Gavilan's. Billy Graham had 126 fights, never knocked down. Never. Marvelous Marvin Hagler. We talked about some great chins. Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Okay. War. Hagler was the world's best middleweight for almost an entire decade, and a host of heavy punchers, including Thomas the Hitman Hearns and John the Beast Mugabe, could not put him down. And them two put a lot of people down. Thomas Hitman Hearns and John the Beast Mugabe, but they couldn't put the Marvelous One down. The Marvelous One tasted the canvas only once, on a bogus knockdown by Ron Rodon. It was a slip, really. The referee called it a knockdown by Juan Rodon. And Juan Rodon himself said it wasn't a knockdown. He was the man that got credit for it. He said it was a slip. Okay? Hagler went to his grave saying that was a slip. Only one thought it was a knockdown was the referee. And that was the one that counted. Even the man that scored the knockdown said it was a slip. Right? So that had to be a slip. Jake LaMotta, one of the greatest catchers of all time. You know, those guys that take 3, 4, 5 punches just to get one in. You had to have a great chin to fight that style. Jake LaMotta was the best at it. Arturo Gatti wasn't bad neither. Yeah, Jake. He had a beard on him. Jake LaMotta. Surprised he didn't have more knockouts. He only had like 39 and 100 some fights or something. Yeah, 106 fights. The Bronx Bull hit the deck on just one occasion. And that was a fight he threw. Lost on purpose. So really, never. He fought the great Sugar Ray Robinson 6 times. And even the Sugar Man couldn't get Jake off his feet. Only time it went down was in a fight he threw. Admitted he threw it in front of Congress to get a title shot because he was getting up in his career and the mob had been at him to throw fights, but he always refused them. He was getting up in his career and he was thinking, I'm never going to get a title shot, so I better play ball with him. And not only did he have to throw the fight to get the title shot, he also had to pay the mob $20,000. He had to pay them money, right? And throw the fight. That's crazy. I'm throwing the fight. Why do I have to give you $20,000? You know, this in the 40s. $20,000 off your purse was a lot. Probably like half of it in the 40s. You know, $20,000 in the 40s is up in like the hundreds of 6 digits today. You know, hundreds of thousands, right? In 2025, like 80 years later, it's 80, right? 40s to 20s, yeah, 80. 80 years later. So yeah, he had to get him $20,000 off his purse plus throw the fight. You would have thought throwing the fight would have been enough, right? Kid Gavilan. We're gonna go on with it because this thing is acting up so bad, you know. Kid Gavilan. The Friday gonna be the life and career of Alexander Usyk because this is the first Friday of the month. You know, we always do an active fighter, right? So we're going to take a break from our divisions like we've been doing on Fridays. Light heavyweight will be next Friday. But Alexander Usyk Friday, life and career. Active fighter. First Friday of the month. Kid Gavilan. Against the likes of Ralph Tiger Jones, Bojack, Tommy Bell, Ike Williams, Carmen Basilio, and of course, the great Sugar Ray Robinson. Gavilon proved his chin rock hard. He went down twice in 143 fights. Wow, 143 fights. They called him the Cuban Hawk. He had a chin of iron. And we're to number one. And number one, greatest chin of all time, is George Chuvalo. Okay, he fought in the era of the great heavyweights, them same ones Ali fought: Shavers, Big George, Smoking Joe, Norton, Ron Lyle, all of them. Ali never went down. Never. He had some stops by TKO, but never off his feet. George Chuvalo. Fighting in the most competitive heavyweight division in boxing history, this brave Canadian slugger took the hardest shots of Ali, Foreman, Frazier, Patterson, Bonavina, Quarry, Zora Farley, Ernie Terrell, Cleveland Williams, Bob Clareau, and Yvonne Durrell. And amazingly, he was never once off his feet. He was going to be Sonny Lister's next fight before Sonny died. Okay? And Chuvalo signed to fight. They didn't even know Sonny was dead. Right? Yeah. That was going to be his next fight. Chuvalo. And the Big Bear wouldn't have got him off his feet neither. The Big Bear probably would have beat him. But Chuvalo wasn't going down to nobody. Not Big George Chuvalo. Wasn't nobody knocking him down. No way. Okay, let's look at the last thing. The What's My Name fight. And you know, I thought he did, but Ernie Terrell still never called him Muhammad Ali. Remember during the build-up, Ali had changed his name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali, and Ernie Terrell kept teasing him, calling him Cassius Clay, called him Clay, and Ali kept slapped him at one of the press conferences. Ali did, because he wouldn't call him Muhammad Ali. So Muhammad Ali said, before this fight is over, I'm going to make you call me Muhammad Ali. But Ernie Terrell never did. Mm-mm. Ernie Terrell said, they said, Ernie, did you hear Ali taunting you, asking you what's my name during the fight? Ernie said Ali was beating him so bad, he didn't know what the hell Ali was saying. Yeah, that's what the reporter asked him. He was beating you so bad, Ernie, why didn't you just say Muhammad Ali when he was asking you during the fight, what's my name? Ernie said, he was beating me so bad, I didn't even know what the hell he was saying. Ernie didn't know he was saying, what's my name? He probably would have said it. But he said he was getting beat so bad, he didn't even know what Ali was asking. He would have said that name. Ali, Ali, Ali. That's your name. Yeah, what's my name? Ernie never said it. This thing ain't moving, and I'm just going to leave it just like that. We're going to look at George Chuvalo while we talk about Ernie and Muhammad. Man, yeah. So that's we was gonna do Homer Williams, one of the Murderers Row fighters. That picture right there is Homer Williams when he went to France to fight the French fighter. Oh man, Marcel Cerdan, and they standing on top of a rooftop in France talking. Look at him. It's some kind of railing behind him, but geez, man, I'd be over in the middle somewhere talking. Standing right on the edge, got the foot up on the edge of the building talking on. They couldn't find anywhere else to talk at but on top of a roof of a building? Wow. But yeah, that's Homer Williams on the left and Marcel Cerdan, the great French fighter, on the right. On top of a building in France talking. Man. Maybe they had a secret or something. They didn't want nobody else to hear it. Somebody took the picture though. This is the What's My Name fight. And Ernie Terrell never did call him Muhammad Ali because when Muhammad Ali was beating him so bad, he was saying, "What's my name?" Hit him 2 or 3 times. "What's my name?" Hit him again. Ernie said, "I would have said it, but I didn't know what the hell he was saying. He was beating me up so bad." And Ali caught a lot of flack for how bad he beat Terrell in that fight too. But hey, he wanted the man to say his real name. Muhammad Ali. Ernie kept calling him Cassius Clay all through the build-up, teasing him like. And the man's name was Muhammad Ali, right? The What's My Name fight. That was going to be the fight of the day, but it was too short. Okay, let's see. What's my name? What was that? The best chins. Top 12 rivalries. Okay. Oh, yeah, it was right next to that. There's Ali and Terrell right there. Yeah, beating on him. He trying to got the jabs. He split that opening. Look at that. Wow. Ali was so fast though. And he probably trying to bring his arms together, but Ali was too fast. You would see the punch going back the other way. You wouldn't see it coming towards you. That time you see it hit you, you would feel it. It was going back. Yeah, Ali showed no mercy. This was like 1967. This fight, because the second Liston fight, Ali had got stripped. But before the fight, he had got stripped because he signed the rematch with Liston. And the WBA had a rematch in their contract. I don't know why they stripped him. But then Ernie Terrell ended up with the title. And this was the fight Ali became undisputed. He kept the WBC, kept recognizing him. This was the fight where he got the WBA back from Ernie. Okay. I believe it was 1967. Like 58 years ago, right? 58, yeah. Ali shows no mercy. The What's My Name fight. Yep. 58 years ago, 1967. The world saw Muhammad Ali at both his dazzling best and his most cruel and punishing. The words, "What's my name?" ring clearly, still in the ears of fight fans who are old enough to have watched Ali's fight with Ernie Terrell. After witnessing what Ali did to the game but outclassed Terrell, many boxing writers of the day laid into the world's heavyweight champion, calling him a bully, a man who lacked sportsmanship in one hugely insulting way. He wanted the man to say his name. Terrell, a tall fighter with a fine left jab, truly felt he would beat Ali, the man he continued to call Cassius Clay. Ali considered Cassius Clay his slave name. During the build-up to the fight, Terrell angered Ali, and Ali ended up slapping Ernie Terrell in the face during a press conference, ordering him to call me by my name, Muhammad Ali. Ali said, "Before this fight is over, you will address me as Muhammad Ali if you don't do it now." Okay? Terrell came in 39-4 and probably at his own peak at age 28. And he tried as best he could in the fight, but almost from the very beginning, it was obvious that Terrell, like every other heavyweight of that era, had nowhere near enough speed to be able to deal with Muhammad Ali. But Ali wasn't content with just merely beating Ernie. He wanted to humiliate him for the name slur. Ali dropped his hands and left them dangling at his sides, left himself wide open for long periods of time during the fight. And then he would lash out with stinging blows. At other times, while literally daring Terrell to hit him, Ali bellowed out, "What's my name? What's my name?" Terrell never uttered a word, later claiming he never even heard anything Ali was saying to him. He said, "I was concentrating on surviving." I ain't know what the hell he was talking about. He probably would have said it. He said, "I was concentrating on surviving." Now, Terrell was game, but he was falling hopelessly behind on the judges' scorecards. Also, for a serious concern for the octopus, as Ali had dubbed him, was the damage Ali had inflicted on his left eye, swelling up and closing fast, and his eye had a fractured orbital bone underneath it. Wow. And it was later revealed he had a detached retina. Yeah, Ali put something on him. Had a broken orbital bone, detached retina, and still kept beating on him. Why didn't the referee just stop it? But back then, you had to really be damn near half dead for them to stop a fight, you know? Yeah, your eyeball basically had to be hanging out. Yeah, they didn't just stop fights back then. This man had a broken orbital bone, a detached retina. Wow. And then Terrell claimed after the fight that Ali had purposely rubbed his eye along the top rope as the two had been in a clinch. He said that's how the damaged retina happened. Said Ali rubbed his eye along the top rope during a clinch. Ali vehemently denied this, claiming, "I'm a clean fighter." He insisted. But Terrell, who passed away in December of 2014, always insisted he would have won had his eye not been so horrifically damaged. Yeah, right. Sure, Ernie, you would have won. Yeah, okay. Sure. Ernie blamed it on the eye. Due to a combination of Terrell's bravery and Ali's willingness to prolong the beating of his overmatched adversary, they say Ali could have got him out of there. The fight dragged on for the entire 15 rounds. Now, maybe Ali could have closed the show earlier and got the stoppage. Who knows for sure? In any case, Ali won by a lopsided margin on each of the three scorecards, and he got what he wanted. He beat Terrell up, damaged his retina, broke his orbital bone, and who knows what else, right? And he won by 148-133. That's 15 rounds back then. That's almost like 15-0. If you figure 15, you can basically get like 150, right? For a shutout. It had 148-133, so Terrell probably won like one round, I guess. Something like that. Yeah, 148-133, 15 round score. However, Ali was given no rave reviews by the media after the fight. Instead, almost every single writer chose to focus on the mean-spirited side of Ali's nature. Condemned as a cruel bully, just as he was 2 years earlier when he brutalized and tormented former champion Floyd Patterson, another fighter who insisted on calling him Clay. He did the same thing to Floyd Patterson 2 years before that. Ali was all but hated by the media. No one could deny his boxing brilliance, but the champion's taunting and carrying an opponent longer than necessary was seen as being in terribly bad taste. For sure, the Ali of the late 1960s was a million miles from the beloved global hero he would become in the mid-70s, and still is today, even after his death, okay? This is like, what, 9 years? What is like 2016? Still like 9 years after his death, still a beloved figure. But he wasn't that in the 60s. He was hated. And at the time of the Terrell fight, Ali was 28-0, and was seemingly no one out there capable of defeating him. Ali may have been disliked at home, but he was popular in Europe and in other parts of the world. But after just one more fight, a stoppage win over Zora Farley that March, Ali fell foul of the United States government. The Terrell fight was the fight before his last fight, before the suspension. Stripped of his title and his passport for refusing to inducted into the United States Army, Ali was made redundant, unable to fight for a living. The United States government had done what no fighter of that time had even come close to doing. Beating Muhammad Ali, at least temporarily. He did get his license back, but they stopped him for almost 4 years. What no fighter could do, the United States government did it, okay? Took Ali's title from him. All right, there you have it. Just some various parts of boxing today. I think we're going to talk about Japan tomorrow, boxing in Japan, Thursday. We're going to do Don King Monday. Like I said, I could have rushed it last night, but I decided to wait till the weekend to get it right. See how that rhymes? I could have rushed it last night, but I decided to wait till the weekend to get it right. We're going to do Don King Monday. Brought to you by BVO Sports TV. It's going to be good too. Don't miss Monday. You know, I just found out yesterday that Don King, as big as a promoter as he became, when Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali had the fight of the century in 1971, Don King watched that fight from prison. I'm learning too. I just found that out yesterday. He watched the fight of the century between Ali and Frazier from prison. Then came out and became one of the biggest promoters of that era. Still promoting 54 years later in 2025. Yeah, that's going to be good. Okay. But I appreciate everybody for stopping through today. Thomas Hill, Mike Mazik, Crush the Legend, Just Do Boxing, the Boxing Menu Podcast Plus, Mike Rim, Miss Cass. And thank everybody for bearing with me today on this phone and, going in and out and all that kind of stuff. I really appreciate it. But tomorrow, I think we're going to do boxing in Japan, and then Friday, the profile is going to be the life and career of Alexander Usyk. First day of the week. First Friday of the month. An active fighter. Oh, shit. Oh, excuse me. Damn. I was going to the laptop to close the show. The show is on the phone. Oh, yeah, there it is. I was going to say, what the hell? The laptop screen blank. Yeah, I'm on the phone. Okay. At least it's moving. Yeah, fight of the day was Sweet Pea and Greg Hawkins. Sweet Pea never got his props because of his style. He didn't exactly have an exciting style, You know how they talk about Devin, there's Turkey Ali Sheik, and they would be calling Sweet Pea a runner, a great Hall of Famer. Turkey Ali Sheik probably wouldn't even want to put Sweet Pea on, right? That's the style. And the bad part, they're trying to do away with a certain style that a certain type of fighter uses, right? Mostly fighters that look like us. I do. They're trying to do away. That's the style that a certain group of fighters use. You can't just do away with an entire style. They would call Muhammad Ali a runner, right? So yeah, that's the fighting style fighters use, man. They try to just erase a whole entire style of fighting. Can't do that. But appreciate everybody. We'll be back with another one tomorrow. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Box Story bringing you all of that boxing history. Just Do Boxing is up next. This is Cass Sports, the Box Story. Everybody have a great afternoon. Salute BVO.